Remember what the Dormouse said. Feed your head. Hello, beautiful people and Mad Hatters. I'm back. What did you think about my last video's Easter egg? Too difficult for you to crack yet? Still wrestling with the demons of the truth? Alright, no more stalling. Let's brush the rabbit fur off our clothes and take today's plunge down into the depths of the nefarious rabbit hole, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Ah yes, the classic tale, spun by salivating historians. John Wilkes Booth, a simple actor turned rogue executioner out of rage against Lincoln's support for blacks. Ring any bells? But don't be fooled. Yes, he was an extreme racist. But this is just another lie, conjured up by the puppeteers pulling on playful strings behind dark curtains. Let's just call them the company. You see, Mad Hatters, this conspiracy doesn't merely start from an actor's whim. No siree. It dates back when good old Abe championed justice for a father named Charles Chiniquy. This is when Abe was mixed up with some serious rogue figures who are quite comfortable living in the shadows. Father Chiniquy spent 50 years in the Church of Rome, where he was a Catholic priest who refused to give up preaching from the Bible to his parish, and as a result, caught the ire of the Catholic leadership in Canada. But when the father left the church, he went on a Protestant conversion binge, since they would rather leave the church there in Illinois rather than disown their precious father. Naturally, not taken kindly by those enamored in silk robes. Soon enough, the company and the Jesuits swooped in to address the situation, hounding the poor father with false witnesses, spewing accusations like hydrants gone wild. But Father Chiniquy pleaded with the renowned lawyer who had been nicknamed Honest Abe. Despite being an underdog, he stood firm, shattering their elaborate charade. When these Jesuits lost, and all charges were dropped, because Abe was able to catch the forced testimony in a lie, I'm sure their faces were livid. Just thinking about it gives me the goosebumps. Chiniquy celebrated and gave thanks to his newfound friend, but immediately warned his savior that he had made a dangerous enemy on that day, and that his life might be in danger. But unbeknownst to Father Chiniquy, Lincoln himself was secretly a powerful person in his own right. But some of these revelations wouldn't come out until after he was sworn in as the 16th President of the United States. Now, let us fast forward to Lincoln's presidency, where our rabbit hole just gets deeper. You see, the president and his wife were devout spiritualists. That's right. Our 16th president would not have called himself a Christian. He would in fact call himself a spiritualist. This means that they did believe in conversing with the beyond, and that they could receive secret information by communing with spirits through individuals called mediums. Can you just imagine it? Seances being held in the ornate crimson room of the presidential powers, with Ouija board and all. You see, Honest Abe had spiritual advisors living practically on the White House lawn. Yes, indeed, our beloved Lincoln quite enjoyed paying homage to the spiritual realm, but to him and his wife, that was probably not all that out of the ordinary, as Lincoln was an initiate of the Rosicrucian order. Are you surprised? Are you gasping right now? Lincoln, aka Old Toby, wasn't just a Rosicrucian, but was a top-shelf member within this occult secret society. That's right. He belonged what they call the Council of Three. That's right. Lincoln replaced George Lepard, who founded the Brotherhood of the Union, and he worked alongside with Pascal Beverly Randolph and Ethan Allen Hitchcock, all three members of the Council of Three. But our story doesn't end there. No, Lincoln is a more interesting person than that. Ever wondered where Lincoln received his inspiration for the Emancipation Proclamation? I'll let you take a wild guess. Not even close. The idea about freeing the slaves, and what and when, were particularly inspired by different seances that happened right in the Crimson Room at the White House. You see, Lincoln cut deals with some of the spirits, asking for their divine help in exchange for their assistance on the battlefield if he would free the slaves. So you see, folks, the Emancipation wasn't only Foster's dreams or Martyr's March. It was born out of the ethereal agreement between our heroic leader and some otherwise unworldly entities. Now at this point you must be thinking, our dear White Rabbit is mad as a hatter. Are mercury pills substituted for sugar cubes in his tea? Speaking of mercury pills, Old Toby, yeah, he was chomping on mercury pills like they were going out of style. Don't believe me? Look it up. My beautiful people, I want you to ask yourselves this. If all this is a true history, why haven't we heard of any of it before? Why have these juicy tidbits been conveniently left out of our textbooks? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the truth is too difficult for the sheeple to handle. They prefer the sheeple to blindly follow whatever narrative they feed them. They'd rather keep us in the dark because they fear that even a speck of light might open our eyes a little too wide, might make us wide awakes. So what do we do? What do we do about it? I'll tell you what we do. We pull the wool off of our eyes and make them see that we're not sheep, but actually ravenous wolves. Let's continue. So, who were these mediums that Lincoln was meeting with? Lincoln regularly met with two particularly influential mediums, J.B. Conklin and Miss Maynard, who was Miss Nettie Colburn in 1863, and these weren't casual tea parties, my friends. These were serious sessions, tapping into the spiritual realm for guidance. In one such seance, Miss Colburn advised Lincoln that the Army was in a precarious state, and its effectiveness was in jeopardy. You'd think a spirit wouldn't know much about military strategy, right? Well, not for this one. This spirit was as sharp as a tack. It advised Lincoln to get his hands dirty, to go to the front lines with his family, mingle with the soldiers, hear their grievances, and show them that he was more than just a guy in the White House. He was their father, their leader. And do you know what Lincoln did? He followed that advice. He went to the front lines, and it worked. The morale of the troops picked up, and the effectiveness of the Army improved. And here's another juicy tidbit of spiritual advice. In the throes of the Civil War, a spirit, again through Miss Colburn, advised Lincoln not to delay the Emancipation Proclamation. It said, and I quote, "This Civil War will never cease till you issue a proclamation that shall set free the enslaved millions. Guess what? Lincoln heeded that advice. The Union Army had 26 battles between the drafting of the proclamation in September and its issuance in January, and each of them was a success for the Union side. So you see, dear listeners, the spirits were not just a source of comfort or curiosity for Lincoln. They were his advisors, his military strategists, guiding him through some of the most turbulent times in our nation's history. Oh, and what's this? Are we at the brim of our little cup of truth already? Well, my Mad Hatters, our next rendezvous promises an even darker descent, where we'll dance around the dervish tales of John Wilkes Booth and his notorious associations. And don't you dare think mundane. We're talking about the very sinister, clandestine, Jesuit order, Opus Dei, and the secret society known as the KGC, or the Knights of the Golden Circle. And remember, despite mockery or disbelief, cast aside ignorance and resolutely walk on, as if your pathway was lit by truth's sweet light. And as always, dear seekers, the truth will set you free.